When did you have to play mediator in the world's most awkward situation? I was at my girlfriend Emma's parents' house for Thanksgiving dinner. First time meeting her whole family. Her mom, her dad, her older sister Kelly, and Kelly's husband Brandon. Everything was going fine until we sat down to eat. Emma's dad started carving the turkey when Kelly suddenly stood up and said, "I have an announcement to make." Everyone got quiet. Kelly looked at Brandon, then at her parents, then said, "We're getting divorced." The room went dead silent. Emma's mom dropped her fork. It clanged against her plate so loud it made me jump. Emma's dad just stood there with a carving knife in his hand, staring at Kelly like she'd just announced she was moving to Mars. Brandon didn't say anything. He just looked down at his empty plate. Then Kelly kept talking. "And Brandon has been cheating on me with my coworker Michelle for 6 months. So yeah, happy Thanksgiving." Emma's mom started crying immediately. Her dad put down the knife and said, "Kelly, maybe we should talk about this in private." But Kelly wasn't done. She looked right at Brandon and said, Tell them what else you did." Brandon finally looked up. His face was bright red. He mumbled something nobody could hear. "What was that?" Kelly asked. Louder. "I took money from your parents," Brandon said. "From the business loan they gave us for the bakery." Emma's dad's face went from shocked to angry in about 2 seconds. "How much?" $15,000, Brandon said. "I used it to pay off my gambling debts." Emma grabbed my hand under the table so hard it hurt. Her mom was full on sobbing now. Her dad looked like he might flip the entire table over. Kelly sat back down and said, "So now everybody knows. Can we eat?" Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The turkey was just sitting there getting cold. Then Emma's mom looked at me, this random guy who'd been dating her daughter for 4 months and had never been to their house before. She said, "You seem like a nice young man. What do you think we should do about this situation?" I almost choked. Every single person at that table turned to stare at me, waiting for me to say something. I had no idea what to say. I didn't know these people. This wasn't my family. This wasn't my problem. But Emma was squeezing my hand like I was the only thing keeping her from running out of the room. And her mom was looking at me with these desperate eyes like I had some kind of answer. So I took a breath and said the first thing that came to my mind. I think everyone should eat something first. It's hard to make good decisions when you're hungry and emotional. The food is right here. It's already cooked. Maybe we just eat for 10 minutes and then talk after. Emma's dad stared at me for a long time. Then he picked up the carving knife again and started cutting the turkey. Nobody said a word while he put slices on everyone's plates. Emma's mom passed around the mashed potatoes with tears still running down her face. Kelly and Brandon sat on opposite sides of the table, not looking at each other. We ate in the most uncomfortable silence I've ever experienced in my life. The only sounds were forks scraping plates and someone's phone buzzing in another room. After about 15 minutes, Emma's dad cleared his throat and said, "Okay, now we talk." I started to stand up, figuring they'd want privacy, but Emma's mom put her hand on my arm and said, "Stay, please." So I sat there while they had the most brutal family conversation I've ever witnessed. Kelly cried. Brandon cried. Emma's mom kept asking where they went wrong as parents. Emma's dad wanted to know every detail about the money. At one point, Kelly looked at me and said, "This is probably the worst Thanksgiving you've ever been to, huh?" I didn't know what to say, so I just said, "I've definitely had quieter ones." Emma's dad actually laughed at that. Just one short laugh, but it broke something in the room. The tension got a little lighter. They talked for 2 more hours, figured out a plan for Kelly to move back home temporarily, made Brandon agree to pay back the money in monthly payments, decided they'd try counseling before making the divorce final. When we finally left around 9 that night, Emma's mom hugged me at the door and whispered, "Thank you for staying. I know this was a lot." Emma and I sat in my car in her parents' driveway for 20 minutes before driving home. She kept apologizing. I kept telling her it was okay. We broke up 3 months later for unrelated reasons, but I still think about that Thanksgiving sometimes. How I went from being a nervous boyfriend meeting the family to being the one person in that room who could say something nobody else could say. Sometimes being the outsider is exactly what people need. Wait, no, not sometimes. That specific moment, that one weird, horrible, unforgettable Thanksgiving where I learned that the most awkward situations don't need perfect answers. They just need someone brave enough to say anything at all.